Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of our daily news program. Onto the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the Archbishop of Algiers, Jean-Paul Vesco. The President of the Republic congratulates his U.S. counterpart, Donald Trump, following his election as President of the United States of America. The President of the Republic receives congratulatory messages on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the November Glorious Revolution. And under the high patronage of the President of the Republic, the International Book Fair Sila is inaugurated by the Prime Minister. And the explosive situation in Morocco is limelighted in our news edition, highlighting the deep social and political situation shaking the country. Welcome back, everyone. First, our news. The head of state received today the Algiers Archbishop Jean-Paul Vesco. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Boualem, and the Minister of the Religious Affairs and Endowments, Youssef Belmehdi. Following the audience, the Algiers Archbishop Jean-Paul Vesco made the following statement to the press.
J'ai été honoré d'être reçu aujourd'hui par Siraïs, par notre président.
I had the honor to be received by the President, who congratulated me after being appointed as Cardinal by Pope Francis, a very important decision taken by the Pope and a good sign for Algiers and its church. I'm so honored that the President received me on this occasion.
In other news, the President of the Republic sent a message to his U.S. counterpart on the occasion of his election as a new president, in which he wrote that he is pleased on behalf of the Algerian people and government and on his behalf to extend his warmest congratulations and sincere wishes for good health and happiness in fulfilling his noble missions. He took this opportunity to recall in his message the deep historical friendship between Algeria and the U.S. and commend the positive momentum in the bilateral relationship across various fields. He expressed his desire to work with President Trump to advance this partnership for mutual benefit. President Abdelmajid Tebboune added in his message that he wished to acknowledge both Algeria's and the U.S.'s efforts in international forums and coordination on mutual interests, supporting initiatives for international peace and security with Algeria and a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. The head of state concluded his message by the expression of his highest consideration. The President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, Mohammed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazouani, congratulated his brother, President Abdelmajid Tebboune, on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the glorious November Revolution, wishing the Algerian people further progress and prosperity. He also reaffirmed to the head of state his willingness to continue joint efforts to reinforce cooperation and the development of bilateral relations in the interest of the two brotherly peoples. The head of state also received congratulations from his brother, the Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, in his name and in the name of the Qatari people on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the outbreak of the National Liberation Revolution. The Emir wished to the President of the Republic as well as to the Algerian people further progress and prosperity. And for his part, the Deputy Emir of Qatar, Abdullah bin Hamad Al Thani, presented his congratulations to the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, always on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the Glorious Revolution, wishing him good health and for the Algerian people further progress and prosperity. And the President of the Syrian Arab Republic, Bashar al-Assad, addressed a message to the head of state, congratulating him on the 70th anniversary of the glorious November Revolution. The Syrian President also congratulated the Algerian people, wishing Algeria more progress and prosperity. He also expressed his consideration regarding the deep brotherly relations binding the two countries, affirming the importance he grants to the continuous development of joint coordination. The president of South Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, equally addressed his warmest congratulations to the head of state regarding the 70th anniversary of the glorious November Revolution, wishing him good health and further progress and prosperity for the Algerian people. The South Korean president highlighted in his message the importance of the strategic partnership characterizing the bilateral relations, allowing the diversification of cooperation for the benefit of the two peoples. And for his part, the King of the Netherlands, Willem-Alexander, equally congratulated the head of state on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the outbreak of the Glorious Revolution. He also congratulated the Algerian people and wished them further prosperity and progress. The President of the Republic of Slovakia, Peter Pellegrini, addressed a message in which he congratulated the head of state on his behalf and on behalf of his people on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the November Revolution. He hailed on the occasion the level of the bilateral relations between the two countries, wishing the Algerian president and people progress and prosperity. And also the president of Cameroon, Paul Biya, also expressed his warmest congratulations to the head of state on the occasion of the National Liberation War anniversary, hailing the excellent relations binding the two countries, expressing his willingness to further work with President Abdelmadjid Tebboune in the interest of the two peoples. The president of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, congratulated President Abdelmadjid Tebboune on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the glorious November Revolution, wishing him and the Algerian people health and prosperity. In his message, the Uzbek president reiterated his willingness to work with the head of state to further boost bilateral relations and diversify the sectors of cooperation as well. And on his behalf and on behalf of the Spanish people, the King of Spain, Felipe VI, congratulated President Abdelmadjid Tebboune and the Algerian people on the occasion of the National Liberation War anniversary, wishing him and the Algerian people peace and prosperity. Pope Francis, for his part, the Pope of the Vatican, congratulated the head of state as well on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the glorious November Revolution, wishing him success and the Algerian people good health, fortune and prosperity. In a new development, the International Book Fair kicked off today in its 27th edition. This eagerly awaited event, held under the high patronage of the President of the Republic, gathered this year 1,007 exhibitors, with Qatar as a guest of honor. And on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the outbreak of the November Revolution, a special cultural program will be held on the sidelines of this fair. In other news, a government meeting chaired today by Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi reviewed measures to implement the President's directives on preserving the purchasing power, including price caps, market regulations, and supply of essential goods. The government also examined draft decrees on disaster management plans for debris and waste and on establishing a committee to assess damage. Additionally, a decree to enhance forest fire prevention was discussed. Finally, the government reviewed preparations for the 2024-2025 Saharan tourism season, focusing on effective promotion of Algeria's tourism and addressing existing obstacles. And the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arqab, is attending Global Fusion Energy Group meeting in Rome this Wednesday under the International Atomic Energy Agency. He is accompanied by the CEO of Sonergas and the Commissioner of Nuclear Energy. The meeting focuses on strategies to accelerate fusion energy development, addressing policy, financial frameworks, technological progress, commercialization and international cooperation. Arqab reaffirmed Algeria's commitment to sustainable energy and expressed interest in hosting a fusion energy project aiming to strengthen national capabilities through partnerships and human resource development. And on to the operational report of the People's National Army's activity in the past week. In the context of the fight against terrorism and thanks to the efforts of the PNA, units, detachments of the People's National Army seized 3 shotguns and a quantity of ammunition during 2 operations in Elysee and Tamaras provinces, whereas 11 support elements to terrorist groups were arrested during separate operations. As part of the fight against organized crime and in continuation of the tireless efforts aimed at countering the scourge of drug trafficking in our country, combined detachments of the PNA intercepted in coordination with different security services and operations across the military regions 37 drug traffickers and averted attempts to introduce 12 quintals and 96 kilograms of processed kief through the borders with Morocco, while 2.5 kilograms of cocaine and more than 600,000 psychotropic tablets were seized. In Tamarasset, Borjbaji Mukhtar, Ingezam and Tindouf detachments of the People's National Army arrested 120 individuals and 35 vehicles, 79 generators, 58 jackhammers, quantities of mixture of raw gold, stones and explosives, detonation tools and other equipment used in illegal gold mining operations were seized. On the other hand, 8 other individuals were arrested and 9 shotguns, 2 automatic pistols, 12,900 liters of fuel, as well as 57 tons of foodstuffs intended for smuggling and speculation were seized during separate operations across the national territory. And for their part, the border guards thwarted attempts of illegal immigration of individuals on board of homemade boats and rescued 226, while 368 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were arrested across the national territory. To Morocco now, always in turmoil due to the multifaceted crisis hitting the country, the king of which all the time absent, plunging the country into full chaos. More details with Melissa Kubash.
Morocco can only be qualified now as a country in turmoil, with protesters out in the streets of nearly every Moroccan city demanding a decent life while denouncing the Makhzen regime, currently incapable of finding a remedy for the crisis plunging the country in chaos. Both Rabat and Casablanca witnessed the same movement during this week as both education and health workers swamped the streets to denounce their terrible work conditions.
The current situation only confirms the incapability of Mohammed VI to settle the crisis facing Morocco at both regional and international levels. The royal palace's advisors play an important role in decision-making, which limits the government's autonomy and capacity to take crucial decisions. It should be noted that the French and Spanish press qualified the government as incapable of suggesting solutions to the social crisis faced by the Moroccan people.
Le Makhzen n'arrive plus, compte tenu de sa situation.
The Makhzen and its budgetary situation can no longer meet the needs of the Moroccan people now in dire straits.
On the other hand, the king's health remains a concern for many.
The king's absence and his lack of contribution in the country's internal affairs arouses great concerns among people, as it appears that Mohammed VI has abandoned his responsibility, leaving the control to others.
In addition to this crisis, the normalization of relations with the Zionist entity only worsened the situation, with the refusal of the Moroccan people terming this act as a betrayal to the Palestinian people, and that the state must pay attention to the needs of its people.
La normalisation est un crime contre le peuple marocain.
The normalization is a crime against the Moroccan people because it goes against the profound Islamic conviction where the Palestinian cause is sacred.
As for the last colony in Africa, Western Sahara, this issue evokes strong international reactions, despite the support of the European Union's Justice Court and its decision that indicates that the Polisario Front is the only legitimate representative of Western Sahara. Morocco and its allies are still taking advantage of its wealth.
50 years after the decision of The Hague, we can tell that the European justice holds the same position, which shows that the attempts of the Makhzen regime to normalize relations, eradicate the Sahrawi people, the displacement of the Sahrawi people to refugee camps, the building of a separation wall, ended in a fiasco.
Rappelons quand même que la France déjà soutenait le Maroc depuis le début en 1975.
We should recall that France supported Morocco in 1975. It was Les Jaguars Français which bombarded Sahrawi civilians.
Ruffians, for their part, didn't fail to step up their efforts in Europe to denounce the barbaric and inhuman practices of the Makhzen.
Tout à fait normal que les Riffiens se rejoignent avec les Sahraouis puisqu'ils ont...
Riffians are joining Sahrawis because they have the same political enemy, the same oppressor. Therefore, I am glad that the Sahrawi resistance and that of Riffians are binding their efforts in their fight.
The Sahrawi cause keeps gaining supporters, especially on the international scene, all in favor of justice and the respect of the international law.
Still with international news, the UN General Assembly convened following the decision of the Zionist entity to ban the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees. The UNRWA is the most prominent UN agency operating in Palestinian territories, playing a crucial role in supporting the population in Gaza. In the north of the Gaza Strip, the Zionist occupier air raids are still ongoing with no means to help. The death toll is increasing, especially in refugee camps, which are no longer safe. More insights with Melissa Kabash.
With bare hands, Palestinians are digging for survivors under the rubble, surrounded with mortars in an apocalyptic atmosphere with no means to help. We are trying to do our best. We have no materials to help us nor medical care. We don't even have a transport means to bring the wounded to hospitals. In this footage, we can see a house completely destroyed following a Zionist bombardment. Only 4 survived while the rest fell martyrs and were fortunately buried in a mass grave by their neighbors. 4 families lived in this house. Only 4 people remain alive. The rest were all dead.
الله يحرقهم يحرق اولادهم يا ربنا بجهنم اللي كان سببنا يا الله يا الله توقف معانا يا الله.
Hospitals are packed with wounded without any medical care. Only little can be done. And the continuous Zionist air raids targeting refugee camps, including that of Nusayrat and Dir al-Balah. People are fleeing in quest of a safe shelter. In the occupied West Bank, the city of Jenin was the target of several attacks carried out by military units of the occupier. They even put in place professional shooters and snipers in strategic points.
To Lebanon now, where the Zionist occupier intensifies its bombings and artillery attacks. 5 people were killed today and others injured in an attack in Tyre. The bombings also targeted Deir Qanon, Bahmar Shaqiq and Arnon in the south of the country. A Zionist attack also targeted the suburbs of the capital Beirut this evening. And Donald Trump is back to the White House after being elected as the 47th President of the United States after a tough competition with his rival Kamala Harris. The U.S. citizens, regardless of their political tendencies, are looking for better living conditions and a prosperous America. More details with our special envoy, Leticia Sadqawi.
Donald Trump has made his return, having been declared the 47th President of the United States of America after securing more than the required 270 electoral votes. His projected victory in Wisconsin, a pivotal swing state with 10 electoral votes, has effectively sealed his win, even as votes continue to be counted in other key battleground states. In Florida, where he also gained large support, the atmosphere was charged with celebration and a renewed sense of optimism for the future across multiple fronts.
It would be better than what we got right now. Kamala never, like she said, that she's going to turn the page. What page? She has 4 years already and she turned no page. Biden did worse. The only one that's going to fix this is Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
In the 4th year we have Donald Trump as president. This country was amazing. Now we need Donald Trump recovery the presidents to save America.
However, Democratic supporters voiced their disagreement with Donald Trump, contending that the former president mismanaged several crises during his previous term.
A lot of folks asked the question as people were coming into this election about whether or not they were better off 4 years ago. And the answer to that is demonstrably we were worse off.
A variety of issues dominated the concerns of American voters in this election, with the economy emerging as the most prominent and decisive factor.
we look at the future very positively. One of the questions that we heard a lot here in Florida from voters that were going in to vote and coming out to vote, we heard that they were interested in the issue of the American economy, the overall inflation rate, and the cost of living. And these are issues that most Americans that we spoke to feel became worse. Things became more expensive under the Biden-Harris administration, and they want the economy back to the way it was during the Trump administration was 4 years ago. So we do expect that we're going to have more economic opportunity coming in following a Trump win.
American people are looking at 4 years under the leadership of Donald Trump. People we have spoke to have expressed hope in the new president with a special emphasis on economy, which is a file that Donald Trump prioritizes. Other issues are on the agenda, such as illegal immigration and enhancing oil independence. Miami, Florida, Laetitia Sedqawi, Canal, Algérie.
And for more details, our special envoy to the event, Laetitia Sedqawi, is live with us to talk to us about the historic comeback of Donald Trump to the White House.
Yes, Manal, indeed, a historical victory for Donald Trump, who will be the 47th president of the United States of America. This was announced after he had won Wisconsin, a swing state among other swing states he won, such as North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Now, the results were not as tight as experts have predicted, but these are not the final numbers, as they are still coming in the upcoming hours and days, and we will be here to tell you more. Other thing to mention is that Florida is one of the first states that were announced red yesterday. And people we have spoke to on the street are very optimistic and hopeful for the new president, with a special emphasis on economy. Now, Donald Trump does prioritize economy and has put an emphasis on that during his electoral campaign. We will be giving you more details as they come. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Laetitia. And with that, we'll wrap up our today's news edition. Thank you for tuning in.